like,
Hello,
Greetings.
Greetings.
hi. Just walks away.
Oh, you're still in my ears.
So we can't say anything rude. David, I watched that at the end of the video last night. It is sensational. You should be like a TED Talk person. I'll drop it in the Slack.
Oh, you mean the presentation to the people?
Clio. The Clio presentation was it different last year, October?
Yeah, it was a Clio Cloud conference.
Inspirational stuff, especially for lawyers. I mean, it's like...
Glad you liked it.
It was like seeing you in a whole different light. It's like seeing, like, you know, your dad, like, doing something really cool.
Wow, so there you go, David.
He was so good at this.
There you go, David.
Yeah. I swear, the presentation is funny, and it's really just really well done.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, I was asking if you could come. Here, hold on a second.
All your compliments.
I have to jump back on. So I have to jump on a meeting at 1. So this will disappear. So I'm sorry to mellow our casual Fridays. So if we want to have casual Friday, get everything else out real quick, and then
have 5 minutes of 10 minutes of Friday.
Casual Friday.
Tests, we're going. Tests are going. There we go. That's the report. Kate's really helping a lot, making scenarios and stuff. It's awesome.
Yo, Kate's scenarios are so good, really.
Now we need to start building templates off of them.
Yeah.
So, getting the next step. Whew, not that she doesn't have plenty of them left to do.
Yeah, I've got quite a few scenarios left. The affidavit is hard.
Yeah.
The affidavit, the general affidavit, or the affidavit of care?
The general affidavit. It's not that. It's just, there's a lot of like, I saw you answered my question about the deleting, adding, because I was like, how much of this do we have to do?
Yeah, if you give me a stock thing, then I can think about that for a while and do that myself. If you just give me the shortest path, that would be great.
The shortest path is
that goes through all the text areas. I'll tell you about it.
Oh,
okay.
No.
I see what you mean.
The shortest path. I don't know. Anyway, so Caroline and I have been on a call today talking about the affidavit of care, getting that flow ready, up to date, kind of looking at the interview. It seems like some of the things aren't really in order, so I think Caroline's been taking notes on that, and she will, like, it's just us pulling things in random orders, like asking, you know, it'll say like your child's addresses, and then the next screen will be what's your contact information. So we've taken quite detailed notes on that, I think, Caroline. Okay. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll be able to effectively report on those issues.
Awesome.
And then basically we're trying to get the flow so that we can test that. Yeah.
Something we want to take a special notice of, just in general for testing, is when we get little pink bars at the top, right? That indicates validation code. So you click a button, you click submit, and it goes, you can't continue because of something or other. And it's a little pink bar. You need to do something at the top. Because that's a place where there might be more testing needed. So, yeah. But we can talk about that more in the channel.
Is that something we need to put in the brain dump? That's something that testers need to be aware of?
Oh, no. We need to be aware of it. But it should still be in the test brain dump because, like...
We as test
scenario builders, we as coders, we as people who are talking to a coder who will go and look at the code and see if this validation code needs special testing.
Okay.
So that is, I mean, there are other situations, but
I know why that question was popping up in a different order for you, Abe. I don't know if it's too detailed to go into, but for children's previous addresses, we will let them choose for children's addresses, we let them choose the same address as the parent.
Yeah. Right. That's what we were talking about that. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
So it needs to have the parent's address first. So maybe we should change the way that question is asked that just captures the address of the parent for this special scenario when we need it only for the children's addresses.
See, we were running it as a whole 209A form. We were running like as a stitched up. So we did have thoughts on the addresses, how it could be asked, and maybe that's a phase 2 thing that I think we identified. Just an improved way of asking it. It's not for the MVP. So
it might be
Okay, so
easy
let's
enough
make it
to-
into an issue.
Yeah.
Maybe let's make it into an
Between
issue and come
issues.
back at the MVP to discuss it in more detail.
well, the other thing that we wanted to do is arrange a 209A meeting similar to like the TRO one, and hopefully to do that on Monday. I'm not sure what people's availability is. We would need the SMEs, as many as, or as the most effective ones that we could get.
Sorry.
Like the people who would be, you know, like have
The
been
people who
involved
have
in this.
the people who've been involved and have like the domain specific knowledge, who understand the domain specific knowledge most closely. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, I don't want to waste people's time if they're not gonna, you know what I mean? So I think Kate would probably be the one who knows who to pull into that or who to check availability for. What is everyone's availability like on Monday?
So what are we doing at that meeting? Sorry.
Basically, like it's like the first of a series of wrap-up 209A meetings, right? Because I think we're at the stage where next week we're going to be doing a private beta. Is that, yeah? So it's like the wrap-up of the MVP, but I don't think it's going to be limited to one meeting. I think there's going to be a couple. You know, obviously we're trying to keep it as short as possible, but I think it's unrealistic to make people sit down for an extended period of time, especially when everyone's got their lives going on. So if we can get people for, I'm not sure how long people would be willing to sit for, but you know, just to go through the interview, the stitched up interview, and we have some areas that of concern that we'll put in issues, stuff that's, you know, that's for later, stuff that's for now. We've identified the differences between those two.
You might want to flag the issues then, to just be like this, you know, so that they're easy to find.
Like this is a 209A issue. It needs import.
Well,
like,
this is a 209A wrap-up issue.
Showstopper. I think that's what it.
They can be, yeah.
Oh yeah, your showstoppers. And also some of this stuff we can put out there now, you know, on Slack and or a Google Doc or something, like some of the language. Is this okay? So we don't need to have that be part of the meeting. That would just be something that we would send to people before the meeting, or something we'd like people to look at or think about before they come to the meeting. So it's not like all of a sudden, what would you do about this? And then people think,
I think, and I also think what you're describing is less of a wrap-up meeting and more of a midway, like check-in meeting. Not like midway.
I don't like midway.
Okay, not midway, but I'm sorry, I apologize for that. But like a check-in and like an SME check-in.
Yeah, I think that makes sense.
Like, do we have the text underneath that we need? Do we have, you know, what do we have left to do?
Yes, that's better.
Yeah,
to make it so
MVP ready.
Yeah, so like what do we have to do to get the MVP out, right?
Right.
And so we can have both of those, but we do need to be clear about their purposes.
Yeah,
Kate,
I think sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, do you have an idea when Laura might get back to you with her feedback?
It might be, she said something about she's been having lots of real job issues. So I don't know how.
It's fair.
Yeah.
That is fair. Okay, so I wouldn't let her be a stopper.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, I think we should just schedule something that and put it out there. I think Monday is probably too short notice if we want to get more SMEs, but I think we should schedule something and say, join if you can, to all the SMEs.
I've got 2 captive SMEs. So I meet with them
in
every
your basement or
I know. Super alarming to hear.
Yeah, well, I mean, they're experts, you know. They've got all kinds of experience.
Okay, so you meet with them on Tuesday.
Tuesdays 10 to 12. So we've got Jeff Wolf and Katie Milton. So we could, you know, and Katie was working with me on the affidavit of care forever, and Jeff's been working on the whole thing from the beginning. I mean, you know, from before the beginning. So they're definitely SMEs. So we could use those. We could know for sure if you wanted to do Tuesday, we definitely have them for Tuesday from 10 to 12. So if you wanted to schedule then, we could do that. And we might be able to pull in Jamie Sabino, which wouldn't be, you know, Who knows?
She's a tough one to get sometimes.
She's tough, but she's also, when you need her, she's there.
Yeah. Yeah, that would be great to have Jamie's input.
So could I ask, Kate, could you put on the 209A channel like a proposed 10 to 12 meeting on Tuesday? Does that suit? What is Quentin and David and Michelle and you, Kate? What is your availability looking like?
I can do that.
I think so.
You say the time again?
Well, yeah, tell me the time again.
10, Tuesday.
10 a.m.
Yeah.
10 a.m. I could do 1 hour because I have a meeting at 11.
Okay.
I could listen maybe, but that's when my wife has her things that I pop in for.
Oh, I wanted to talk about setting up. How do we set up meetings that can be phoned in to? Right? Like, how do we do that in a way that can be done more flexible?
So does the free Slack not allow for call-ins?
Maybe someone else's free Slacks.
My free Slack.
Mine doesn't
free
work.
Zoom.
Yeah.
Yeah, free Zoom.
I mean, free Zoom. Yeah, we could do a Slack call. We could try doing a Slack call.
We
won't be able to.
Yeah, I think that's limited to one person.
If you want to use GoToMeeting, I've got an account for GoToMeeting.
Will it record and will it screen share?
Yep.
Well, there we go.
I don't like GoToMeeting, but we could try. Yeah, sure.
Let's go to meeting.
It's just
another thing like Zoom.
Okay. I'm just we only have very limited time here because
David turns into a pumpkin. We know.
That's right. That's what I was going to say.
There he goes.
Yeah, changing into a pumpkin now.
A blue pumpkin.
Okay, so Kate, I mean, David, even if is it, would you mind just listening, or would you want us to reschedule?
I think it's given the sort of the place we're at. I think I trust the SMEs on this to steer. So
and Quentin will be there.
Yeah, I mean, I'm only really, not that I don't have other uses, but my main use is for big picture integration with the project and cross-party collaboration stuff that isn't within like the SMEs field.
Do you want only lawyer SMEs? Because I also have the advocates from Reach, Dove, those other two places that I emailed Kate. I emailed you about wherever they are. Second Step and something else. Maybe it's just the three of them. Jewish Family Services.
Yep.
Do you want them? Do you want them or not?
Well, I guess we should figure out the scope of the meeting, because I think just running through the interview with someone who's never seen it before, which I don't know that this will be that. I think would take like 40 minutes.
Yeah.
Right? Because it's a long interview, especially if we slow down to stop and ask questions.
Yeah.
So do we have specific things we're trying to get feedback on? Do we want them to all have run through it first and then just go through their punch list?
See, I thought it was going to be more of like what do we need to do? What's left to do to get this off the ground?
Right.
And
so that's more of the existing.
I'm not sure that's an SME conversation. Like, I'm not sure what, like I think SME is like, let's go through the form with a fine tooth comb and see what's missing from the form, like logically and what's in the wrong order. Like what will the SMEs, what kind of other input, like what input are we looking for on cover sheets, or like what are we looking for?
Is it fair to classify this as you're looking to produce a punch list for the MVP?
Yeah.
So how would we do that without going through?
So I think, well, I mean, maybe what we could do is figure out a way so that we've gone through it with various people before they come to the meeting. So they can say, this bit was missing, I mean, you can't ask this way, and I think a lot of these questions are really discussion questions, not Slack, not back and forth. It needs to be a few people in a room or on a Zoom room. It's a discussion, not a, oh, I think we should do it this way. Oh, I think we should do it this way. Because in the end, you may have 4 opinions and how do you pick? It's that kind of thing.
Yeah, totally agree.
And then people getting ideas from each other about, we could say it this way.
I just don't think that's a punch list. I think that is a different thing than a punch list. That's all.
Well, if everybody agrees that something's missing in the interview and they don't want to go live without it, wouldn't you think?
Right. No, I'm not saying that we shouldn't do it. I'm just saying that it needs to be a separate meeting from a punch list meeting. Like there's a punch list meeting and there's this meeting, right?
I think to get that feedback, which is really important for us to get from the advocates, I think it will need to be a guided session with someone who knows the form, who can help walk them through it. Otherwise, they won't have the patience to sit down and run through it on their own. So I think we need that with a live guide. I think that what we should probably do is after we've had that with the SMEs that we pick, then come back and go through and say, okay, we've heard from them. Maybe someone could still be on the call to explain something that needs more explanation. Then what we prioritize and say what we need to do to get it out the door, basically.
And this definitely seems like we should involve Chris, because this is the discussion he's already having about sharing with other advocates.
Yeah, I think this would. I'll ask him. I think it would be a great opportunity to at least start getting to know people and like the community.
Yeah, and this is a slightly different. This is a different arrangement than the advocates will be getting through the other channels, because these are people who are already involved with volunteering with the program. So there aren't the same political constraints and concerns.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, so how do we go about
maybe like coordinate with him? And are you asking me to coordinate with him, or are you going to like talk to him about that?
I haven't had as much success as having real-time conversations with him. So if you have that, it sounds like you've had more success with that.
Yeah, I just like if all I have to do is say, Chris, check Slack, right?
Yeah.
Then that's one thing, but trying to be the middleman is difficult. I've done it before. It's just challenging.
Yeah, I mean, I guess the problem is we have a need to figure out what the structure is for our basically like user interviews.
Yeah.
And we would like any advice or structure that he can provide us.
If you put all those questions in the Slack, then I can get him on top of that.
We've put those questions in there, but it's been framed differently because it's been framed in regards to a different set of potential users for interviews. The same audience of users.
Okay. Could you then like describe this situation in the Slack, and then I can
re-describe the situation.
Because like I'm not good at interpreting other people's words, and the questions being asked do matter, because I say, oh, it's going to be a bunch of people, like I don't know the nuances, and then he'll have a question and I won't have an answer, so I'll come back and ask you, and then like it just goes on forever. So sorry, I wish that like life were easier. I guess I don't know, but and also he has been busy with getting a memorial ready and stuff. If we could figure out a time where you will both be on and available.
Yeah, we tried to set up. I gave him some times yesterday.
Yes, and he's gonna respond to that when he gets a chance. He has a memorial service he's preparing for today.
Okay. Well, that is entirely fair.
Yeah, I mean, he's been like I don't know if I said, but there have been a few deaths close to him recently, and he's been dealing with that. So, but so yes, for now I'll have to do more pinging. But, like I think if you're describing it, and if we can just get it, and I appreciate your responses. We'll work on that. All right.
We've got 5 minutes. I'm just thinking about how we're going to set up this meeting. Kate, do you have SMEs in mind that you want to reach out to? And maybe we said Tuesday 10 to do that initial, are we saying like a guided run through with people who know the forum and people who kind of know the project a little bit? Is that where we landed?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, I would reach out to kind of all the ones that have been involved and see who bites.
Mm-hmm. And yeah. And is this also with the other advocacy groups? I mean, since you're going to have a guided run through anyway, like
of people who haven't been involved at all.
Yeah, does it matter? Or
well, I think it changes how
okay,
the efficiency
okay,
of the meeting.
Probably have like up to 5 people maybe who haven't.
The ideal number.
Yeah, I mean, I think if we have Katie, I like the idea of having Katie Milton and Jeff Wolf. 5 total people.
No, I'm
no 5.
And that would be me, Caroline, and then we're at 5.
No, you need 5 advocates, right?
I was thinking like 5 advocates. Yeah, like when I've done these kind of things in person, you can do like 10 to 15 and then it devolves. But I think on Zoom it's harder. So I would say probably 5 people would be the most.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
To actually get them to speak up and say what they're thinking.
Yeah. I'll introduce you all to 5-finger feedback sometime.
I mean, my guess is if I reach out to all the SMEs that have been involved, I don't think we'll get more than 5. Okay, I don't think that'll be an issue.
Okay. You should say first come, first served, and maybe you'll get more.
Go on.
Time pressure.
Oh, David, it just occurred to me, if I could give him your number, he is much more responsive via text and phone in general. Is that at least to think about that? And
text might work, but I ignore every phone call that comes in.
So it's 2020, man. Who doesn't?
It's mostly text. He does mostly text. He doesn't call. But if you want to give it to him, or at least think about that, then I think that will be a more like effective and immediate form of communication between the two of you.
Okay.
He doesn't really call, like he hasn't really called me. So, but he responds much more quickly to text.
I'm going to give you my cell just because it would see, I think I don't want to get overly pushy and be like, here's my cell. Like, I don't want him to think that now what I'm doing in Slack is like, call me. Why haven't you answered?
No. I will do that. Okay. So you can do it through me. Or I can say, is it okay if David gives you his cell? Because
I said I was going to give, that's why I'm going to give you the number as opposed to
opposed to him. Okay.
Yeah.
We've got 3 minutes before David.
I'll delete it from my book once I finish. All right.
We've got 3 minutes. I don't know how much more we can accomplish. Right.
The court person says they're just waiting for final word.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, except that's for them to send over the whole packet to then go through our side to get final word. So we'll see.
Okay.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
I'm finishing up that stuff for the TRO. So.
Oh, good. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Once we're ready, I guess we'll take a little time to test the email with a real call. So big thing today is don't use the email button on the live production site anymore.
Okay.
If anyone had,
we should put that in the messages.
The email button on the TRO. The TRO.
Yeah, the TRO is the only one that has one right now.
Okay.
Let's make sure that's very clear to everyone.
Why does it go to the court?
Not yet, but that's what I'm working on.
Okay.
Yeah, we should make it an @channel to the main channel.
Yeah.
If there is a possibility that people have
the Docker symbol channel.
If there's a possibility that people have old something or other, you could just give it a new name.
Yeah, let's put it somewhere new.
Wait, what do we mean?
Let's put it somewhere new, or give it a new file name or something.
So you don't give the link out.
They won't accidentally.
Give it TRO live or something like that.
Yeah.
Okay. That's an interesting idea.
I mean, the problem is we had that shortcut set up. And
we can change
using the shortcut. Yeah. So we changed the target and the shortcut so that anyone who has a bookmarked something, he doesn't.
Yeah.
1 minute.
I had a thing, but I forgot it. Yay.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Friday.
Happy Casual Friday, everybody.
Now for a 4-hour meeting. No, 3-hour
Fun,
meeting.
guys.
Have fun.
I'm going to go to my special meeting.
Ooh.
Bye.
Bye. Thank you, as always.